Did you ever boot up a game and immediately feel like you missed a meeting? No tutorial, no glowing waypoints, no press X to not die. Just you and the game. On your own. At first it's kind of like being dropped into a foreign country with no map and no phone, so you cannot understand the signs and you don't really know where to go and what the way is. But then somehow after some hours or maybe even days, it just works. Because you start to poke at things. You start to figure things out. You understand how certain things just work. You press a few buttons, you fall off a ledge, you accidentally punch a friendly NPC in the face. And slowly the game starts to make sense. Not because it explained itself. Not at all, but because you were curious enough to figure things out. And I love that feeling. That's the feeling that I enjoy the most. There's something special about the games that don't tell you everything up front, that trust you to get lost, to mess around and make your own meaning out of it. And this video is about those kind of games. The ones that drop you in without any word. The ones that don't explain but invite you to explore. And why sometimes being totally clueless is the best way to fall in love with a game. But first of all, I want to explain why do we even like being confused. Because on paper it sounds like a bad idea. Confusion is supposed to be frustrating. Like when your GPS reroutes 6 times and somehow ends up taking you into a lake. Or when IKEA gives you 47 identical screws and a diagram that looks like abstract art. But in games, being lost often is the best part in my opinion. When a game doesn't tell you what to do, it makes space for curiosity. What's over that hill? Can I even make that jump? And what happens when I throw this at that? You're not just completing tasks mindlessly. You're actively asking questions. And those questions will pull you forward. Not because the game is pushing you, but because you want to know the answer. Psychologists call this intrinsic movement. It's a drive to do something not for rewards, but because you're interested. And games that drop you in with no guidance at all, they live and breathe by that concept. You're exploring because it feels good to explore and not because somebody told you to. They also ease you into something called the flow state. I talked about it a lot in my last videos, but it's the state when you're totally absorbed, where time vanishes and your focus narrows to just what's in front of you. Good games know how to get you there, slowly. And it's not by giving the player a checklist, by giving you tasks to complete. It's by giving you space to try, to fail and to answer your own questions. And that's exactly what sticks, the learning, the phase where you figure things out. Because when you figure something out yourself, it doesn't just feel good. You feel accomplished, it feels earned, and you will definitely remember it. I can still picture the exact moment in Tunic when I opened the in-game manual and realized it wasn't just for show. It was the key to the whole game. And in Outer Wilds I remember when I noticed without anyone even telling me that the sun was exploding every 22 minutes. I had died a dozen times by then, of course, but something just clicked. Suddenly I wasn't just flying around aimlessly. I was piecing together a mystery that I didn't even know existed before. Moments like that don't come from instructions. They come from trust, from the game stepping back and letting you, the player, figure things out on your own, in your own pace. Two of the best examples for games that just drop you in are probably Outer Wilds and Breath of the Wild. Very different games on the surface. One is a dreamy space mystery about time and knowledge and ancient alien civilizations. The other one's a massive open world adventure where you can fight a goblin with a soup ladle. But they both do something very brilliant. They don't tell you how to play. They just let you explore, drop you in. In Outer Wilds you wake up on a wooden planet full of chill space nerds. No mission, no map markers. Just a janky ship and a whole solar system to explore. And everything you need to beat the game, you already have it. You just don't know it yet. So you crash into things, you discover strange ruins, you die a lot. Breath of the Wild takes the same idea and blows it wide open, you could say. You wake up in a cave with zero direction and a suspicious lack of pants. Step outside and Hyrule just stretches out in front of you like an invitation. No one really tells you where to go. There's no minimap glowing at you like a desperate Uber driver. You just randomly pick a direction and start walking. And sure, you might get zapped by lightning or chased by bees or fall off a mountain because you forgot how stamina works. But that is the fun part. That is playing the game the way the game wants it to be played. And through all of it, the game never pulls you aside to explain anything. You learn by doing. You grow not because your stats go up, but because you understand more and more every time you die. Every time you fail and every time you learn something new. About the world, about yourself, about the game in general. Both games work so well because they make discovery the whole point. They trust that you will care, that the player will try to figure the things out on their own. That they will ask themselves questions and will try to answer them. And when you do all these things, the reward isn't XP or insane loot. It's that quiet little click in your brain that just says, damn, I get it now. Of course, not every game is like that. Some games don't just hold your hand, they practically duct tape themselves to your wrist and drag you through the story. You start the game and immediately get 5 tooltips. A dramatic cutscene and a tutorial message like press this button to crouch, press this button to hear the exposition, press this button to cry. You haven't even walked 2 steps and you're already being micromanaged. And I'm not talking about small games that may make mistakes sometimes. I'm talking about games like Assassin's Creed, Horizon, or pretty much any modern blockbuster with 100,000 map markers. They are beautiful and they play great, but they don't trust you to wander. Every secret is already marked in some way. Every story beat is on a checklist. There's rarely any room to ever feel lost. You always know where to go, you always know what happens next, and you always know what you will find on the next corner. It's like going on a guided bus tour where the guide won't stop talking. Ever. And look, I like these games too. I played many Assassin's Creed and I love Assassin's Creed. Sometimes I want the game to make all decisions for me. Especially after a long day when my brain is only running on fumes and instant noodles. But these kinds of games are not the same at all. They play completely different, of course. You're not discovering, you're not actively using your brain, you're just doing for the sake of doing. That's what ties them all together. Tunic, Outer Wilds, Breath of the Wild, Journey, and even Minecraft. They don't hand you a list of objectives. They hand you a world to explore, a world that invites you to have curiosity. And that world doesn't just exist to entertain you. It exists for you to figure it out. One step, one mistake at a time. They feel less like tutorials and more like conversations. Like the game telling you to check this out. What happens if you poke at that? You didn't know you could do that? Cool, now you do. It's quiet, confident, kind of like being mentored by someone who just smiles and says, you will get it. Just try again. Honestly, it feels like life. That's something I've started to appreciate more and more as I got older. You don't wake up with a glowing marker over your head saying to go there, to talk to this NPC to finally get your mental health together. There's no save points you can just go back to. You just kind of stumble around, try things, get it wrong, many times. But you will learn slowly. So when a game captures that feeling of being small and confused but still curious, it's not just good design, it's way more than that. It's kind of beautiful because it doesn't pretend to have all the answers. It just gives you space to look for them. So yeah, maybe that's exactly why I keep coming back to the games all the time. The ones that don't start with a wall of instructions, that let you wander around and figure things out. Because when a game trusts you and lets you trust yourself, to explore, to be unsure, to keep going even when you don't quite know where you're headed. That's not good design, that's a reminder. So the next time a game drops you in with no map, no goals and no clue what to do, don't panic. Don't open a guide instantly. Don't sprint toward the nearest icon just to feel control. Just sit there for a moment. Think about it. push a button, maybe climb a hill, fall off a ledge. Just see what happens. See where the game takes you. You might not find the objective, but you might find something even better. Peace.